You watch another video about how to know if you'll live longer. They talk about walking speed, grip strength, sleep quality, appetite, balance. They call them predictors. They flash charts on the screen, quote studies, say things like, your gait speed at 75 can predict your risk of death in the next 10 years. And while the information sounds scientific, neutral, objective, there's something quietly terrifying about it, because deep down, you already feel it. You've noticed your steps slowing, your legs tiring sooner than they used to. You forget why you walked into a room. Your grip isn't what it was. Jars resist you. Your handwriting's smaller. Sleep. You wake up more tired than rested. You used to go out for lunch, call friends, joke with neighbors. Now you find yourself saying no more often, avoiding noise, avoiding crowds, sometimes even avoiding mirrors. And so you watch these videos and nod along, not because they're helpful, but because they seem to confirm something you've already started to suspect. You're fading, not in a dramatic way, not all at once, but inch by inch, quietly, inevitably. And that's the part that stings the most, not the aging itself, but the sense that it's already been decided, that the test results are in, that your life has slipped into a category, someone else's chart, someone else's timeline. You think back to a moment not long ago, standing from a chair and feeling your knee hesitate, or reaching for something on a high shelf and pausing halfway, or realizing mid-sentence that you've lost the word you needed. These things used to feel like accidents. Now they feel like warnings. You start to see your days differently, that slow walk to the mailbox. You wonder if that's what the doctor meant, that tightness in your fingers in the morning. Maybe that's part of the decline curve, the skipped dinner with friends. You tell yourself you were tired, but deep down, you wonder if the loneliness is slowly becoming your default. And the scariest part, it's quiet. There's no diagnosis, no alarm bells, just a soft, consistent unraveling. So you sit in front of the screen, absorbing the signs, the predictors, the red flags, and something in you tightens, not because you're afraid of dying, but because you feel like you've stopped living with momentum. You begin to accept the narrative, that these signs are out of your control, that they're like weather reports. You observe them, maybe prepare for them, but you don't change them. And that thought sits in your chest like a stone. But something doesn't quite fit. Because even with all that heaviness, there's a flicker, a sense, faint but real, that these signs aren't conclusions, that maybe you've been reading them the wrong way. Maybe they're not about endings. Maybe they're about invitations. Because what if walking slower isn't a death sentence? It's a message. What if sleep problems aren't just aging? They're the body asking for something it's not getting. What if appetite loss, memory lapses, hesitation, fatigue aren't failures, but feedback? What if your body hasn't given up, but is waiting for you to respond? What if you've misunderstood the signs entirely? We've been told these signs are fixed, that once they show up, slower steps, weaker grip, poor sleep, lower appetite, they've already written the ending. The decline has begun. The body is in motion, and the only thing left to do is watch it slide. We hear words like predictor and take them as prophecy, as if a slower walk at 72 means we've already lost the race at 82, as if less hunger means our body is shutting down instead of simply shifting its rhythm. But that's the lie, that these signs are fate, that they're some kind of countdown clock we can't stop, and because we believe that, we start to pull back. We start adjusting our expectations downward. We expect to hurt. We expect to forget. We expect to slow, decline, fade. We stop questioning the stiffness, the fatigue, the loneliness. We tell ourselves, well, that's just age. But it's not always, not entirely, because these so-called signs aren't final judgments. They're not warnings etched in stone. They're feedback. They're the body tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, something's off. Pay attention. But nobody tells us that. Nobody teaches us to listen to these signals the right way, so we misread them. We mistake them for confirmation that things are over. We let them shrink us, shrink our days, our movements, our courage. That's the real danger. Not the symptoms, not the slowing, but the story we build around it. Because here's the truth. Every one of those signs, walking speed, grip strength, sleep depth, appetite, balance, mood, they're all changeable. Not all at once, not instantly, but they move, they respond. They are levers, not labels. Things you can nudge, improve, reactivate. Even in your 70s, even in your 80s, you can regain your walk. You can restore your sleep. You can rebuild your appetite. You can reignite your energy. But only if you stop believing the myth that these are verdicts. They're not. They're conversations your body is trying to have with you. And like any conversation, if you respond, everything can shift. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to be young again. You just have to stop listening like a victim and start responding like a partner. Because the myth that keeps people stuck is the belief that once the signs appear, there's nothing you can do. But the moment you see them for what they really are, instructions, not sentences, the whole game changes. And the signs that once scared you, they become tools, not to fear your aging, but to navigate it. So you hear the signs, your slower steps, your forgotten words, your restless nights, and instead of treating them like alarms to respond to, you treat them like diagnoses. You assume they're proof that the best parts are behind you. So what do? You pull back. You start canceling small things. You skip the walk to the store and take the car instead. You tell yourself it's easier. You stop standing for phone calls. You start sitting to put on socks. You begin saying no to invitations you would have said yes to just a year ago. Not because you can't go, but because you've convinced yourself it's no longer you. You stop trying to improve your sleep because you assume it's just what happens at your age. You stop cooking fresh meals because the effort feels like a waste if your appetite's already low. You let the TV run a little longer and the silence in the house stretch a little wider, not because you want to, but because somewhere deep down you've accepted a kind of quiet defeat. That's the real cost, not the stiffness in your joints, not the forgetting, not even the fatigue. The cost is what you begin to believe about yourself. You start shrinking, not just physically, but emotionally. Your confidence fades. Your world gets smaller. You stop making plans. Stop asking questions. Stop reaching out. The grip weakens not just in your hands, but in your will. And the damage isn't obvious at first. It doesn't come as a single moment. It comes in little choices. You stop stretching, stop calling, stop fixing your posture, stop standing at the window. You start waiting for someone else to do something, to check on you, to fix it. But no one comes, because they assume you're fine. And so the decline accelerates, not because your body gave up, but because you stopped giving it a reason to fight. That's the part nobody talks about. You didn't slow down because of age. You slowed down because you stopped believing in response. That moment when you stopped trying to reclaim your strength. That's when the real decline began. Not in your muscles, not in your brain, but in your belief. Because once you believe that effort won't matter, you stop making it. And when you stop making effort, everything slows. The steps, the laughs, the memories, the days. And soon, those signs you once feared, they become reality. Not because they were inevitable, but because you invited them by doing nothing. And that is the silent heartbreak of aging with resignation. It's not just losing time. It's losing the sense that time can still be yours. Every sign, grip strength, walk speed, appetite, balance, is your body asking you to tune in, not warning you to give up. But most people never learn how to listen. They see these signs as predictions, not prompts. So they miss the message completely. But here's what almost no one tells you. Those so-called signals of decline are actually the body responding to your current inputs, your routines, your environment, your choices. Your grip isn't weakening because your age decided so. It's weakening because you stopped using it. Your legs didn't just forget how to move faster. They've adapted to slower demands. Appetite isn't gone. It's suppressed by irregular meals, low protein, a lack of movement. Sleep didn't suddenly stop working. It's fragmented because your body no longer has rhythm. These aren't signs of collapse. They're symptoms of disconnection. Your body didn't betray you. It's been trying to get your attention, but we've been taught to treat these shifts as final. We silence the message. We medicate the symptom. We normalize the drift. And over time, that silence becomes dangerous. Because when you ignore feedback long enough, you stop getting it. The body goes quiet, not because it's fine, but because it gave up on being heard. And that's when decline accelerates, not when the signs appear, but when they're dismissed. The real danger isn't the walking speed or the lost appetite. It's the choice to interpret those signs as unchangeable. But once you realize their feedback, everything changes. Because feedback is influenceable. Feedback means your body is still adaptable, still trying, still willing. That walking speed, it can shift with a week of regular steps. That grip strength, it can improve with a few minutes of daily tension. That mood, that clarity, that energy. They respond to rhythm, movement, nourishment, connection. You're not locked into a downward slope. You're surrounded by blinking indicators, each one pointing to what needs your attention. The problem isn't the signal. The problem is what you believe about it. And when you finally see that the signs aren't threats, they're requests, you realize this entire time your body's been trying to work with you, not against you. You don't need to reverse aging. You need to restart engagement. You need to shift from reacting with fear to responding with presence. The truth is, your body is still listening. It's just waiting for you to speak its language again. This isn't about transforming overnight or chasing some unrealistic vision of youth. It's about remembering how to participate, how to meet your own signals with small but powerful responses. You walk, not because it burns calories, but because walking is the body's way of waking up every system at once. Your balance, your coordination, your breath, your circulation, even your memory. You grip, not because you're training for a contest, but because your hands are connected to your strength, your confidence, your ability to open the door, hold a coffee mug, or write a letter without hesitation. You socialize, not because it's nice, but because every meaningful interaction resets your nervous system and reminds your brain that life is still shared. You eat, not just to fill your stomach, but to fuel your clarity, your sleep, your muscles, your movement. You sleep, not just to rest, but to allow the body to heal, rebuild, and process. None of this has to be complex. A 5-minute walk to the mailbox and back. 2 minutes a day squeezing a towel or using a grip ball. 1 phone call in the evening to someone you care about. A single nourishing meal that includes protein and fiber. A steady bedtime. Not perfect, just consistent. These are not chores, they are reconnections. You don't need perfection. You need rhythm. You need a signal chain. One act of engagement leads to another. You move more, and your sleep improves. You sleep better, and your mood lifts. Your mood lifts, and you reach out more. You connect more, and you eat better. You eat better, and your energy returns. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about becoming current, realigning with who you are now and what your body still wants to do. The idea that it's too late is a myth. The truth is, most people never started. But if you begin now, simply, gently, consistently, you'll notice something strange. The signs that once scared you, they begin to shift. And so does everything else. Eleanor was 76 when she started to feel like her body was giving up. Not all at once, just slowly, in ways that didn't seem dramatic but felt undeniable. Her legs felt heavier. Her hands dropped things more often. She couldn't remember the last time she'd slept through the night without waking up in the dark and staring at the ceiling. Her appetite faded too, not just for food, but for company, for conversation, for any reason to leave the house. She watched one of those videos that listed all the signs of longevity and checked off nearly every red flag. Slow walk, weak grip, interrupted sleep, low appetite, limited social contact. It felt like a quiet death sentence, but something in her rebelled, not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to whisper, "Try one more thing." She didn't overhaul her life. She didn't sign up for a new program or buy a bunch of supplements. She did 3 things. But there's one final signal, the one even science can't fully measure. It's not in your blood work or your heart rate or your sleep monitor. It's not how far you can walk or how firm your grip is. It's subtler than that, and more powerful. It's the very first thought you have in the morning, the one that appears in that quiet moment before your feet touch the floor, that flicker of expectation or dread that sets the tone for everything else. Most people over 70 don't realize it, but that thought is a trigger, a signal, a choice point, and what you do with it shapes your walk, your voice, your energy. It determines whether you reach for the light or the remote, whether you stretch or slump, whether the day becomes another copy of the one before, or a quiet return to momentum. It's not positive thinking. It's not forced gratitude. It's something simpler, quieter, but deeply rewiring. And once you understand how to use it, everything else, the food, the movement, the rhythm, becomes easier. The signs begin to change, not because of what you did last night, but because of what you believed the moment you woke up. In the next video, we'll show you exactly how to find it, and what most people over 70 get wrong when they try. Don't miss it, because if you do, you'll miss the signal that starts it all. But there's one final signal, the one even science can't fully measure. It's not in your blood work or your heart rate or your sleep monitor. It's not how far you can walk or how firm your grip is. It's subtler than that, and more powerful. It's the very first thought you have in the morning, the one that appears in that quiet moment before your feet touch the floor, that flicker of expectation or dread that sets the tone for everything else. Most people over 70 don't realize it, but that thought is a trigger, a signal, a choice point, and what you do with it shapes your walk, your voice, your energy. It determines whether you reach for the light or the remote, whether you stretch or slump, whether the day becomes another copy of the one before or a quiet return to momentum. It's not positive thinking. It's not forced gratitude. It's something simpler, quieter, but deeply rewiring. And once you understand how to use it, everything else, the food, the movement, the rhythm, becomes easier. The signs begin to change, not because of what you did last night, but because of what you believed the moment you woke up. In the next video, we'll show you exactly how to find it, and what most people over 70 get wrong when they try. Don't miss it, because if you do, you'll miss the signal that starts